Hey guys, it is episode 185 of 4PlayerAnimecast. It is the final part of our fall 2021 review of the anime season. So it is the middle of December, December 11th, and we are also going to be doing a podcast right after, or I guess the week right after this, again on the 18th. So make sure you guys mark that on the calendars. We are obviously not going to have podcasts on the 25th and the 1st, Christmas and New Year, respectively. So the 18th, we're going to have our preview show for the winter season next year, winter 2022, which again is always pretty fun. And I believe because the winter season usually brings out the smaller studios. Although in these years, right, near if I remember correctly, last year what happened was that because of COVID and how things
Yeah.
always got delayed all the time, what happened was that big studios came out to play, and there was like a bunch of like big name and like sequel stuff happening in the winter because everything got pushed to the winter time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm not sure how much that might. I mean, it could happen again because of all the delays that have happened, but we'll have to see. But winter is almost always the one of the more creative seasons of the year, so we'll have to see how that goes.
I mean,
So
we're gonna get a new season of fucking Kimetsu no Yaiba, dude.
we're gonna get a new season of Tiki. You mean?
Oh,
How can they make a
10th,
new
here's
season
11th
here's
of
season of
no
hoping,
Tiki.
dude.
Yaiba if it's already over?
Yeah. 11th season of TQ. Here's to hoping. But anyways, so watch out for that in the preview show on the 18th, as well as the awards show on the first week on the 8th of January. So we'll be a little bit spaced apart. But yeah, anyways, without further ado, here are my Patriots. Toast.
It's me.
Dark.
Hello.
Near.
Hello.
All right. And again, I am your host, Spire. How have you guys been doing these past 2 weeks, starting with Near?
Um. Well, uh, Endwalker came out for
Yes.
Final Fantasy 14.
Everybody's been playing it. Everybody
Yeah,
on my Steam list has been playing it. I'm
pretty
not
much
even
everyone's
kidding.
playing Final Fantasy 14. I've been chipping away at it. I haven't beaten the expansion yet. Largely because the queues are so fucking long.
Yeah,
Um,
those are meme level at
yeah.
this stage.
The login queues are very long. It's not uncommon that you'll be sitting in a queue for multiple hours. And personally, when I have a game launched for multiple hours and I'm not able to play the game,
It becomes
it
less
kind of
pleasant.
kills the mood to want to play sometimes. So
It
sometimes
can become it can be the game can become less pleasing if you can't actually play the game. Is what you're saying,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Call me crazy, but that's how I feel. So I have had days where I'm kind of just like I don't really want to do that, so I'm not gonna
Right.
play. But yeah, it's been fun. It's been very very good so far.
Good.
What I have played. I think I'm decently far along, but you know, uh, yeah, pretty good. Other than that, um, you know, the Game Awards happened, so that was fun.
The classic, the most trustworthy source of which games are best
Oh
in,
yeah,
in
yeah, for
the
sure, for
world.
sure.
Yes.
Um, although this year's wasn't too bad. I feel there was still some awards that were like, okay, like no, but at the very least, Game of the Year, really the only one that matters, or the only one that people really paid to, went to a good game this year. That's crazy.
I think what happened was that this year, because obviously because of COVID, less games came out, right? Overall. So in these times, what happens is that if there are less choices, then the one that's usually better, especially again in these times where it's a little bit hard to push stuff out, the better one becomes more apparent. And in those cases, it's like hard for the game, even like if you're bullshitting like in the Gaming Awards, for them to
You
be like,
say
"Ooh."
that, but last year The Last of Us 2 won every single award. So
Well, there are always exceptions, and
Yeah.
how could we
and
we
this
pass up on a
year,
game such as Last of Us
fucking
2?
what was it? Deathloop won like
yeah,
so much
Deathloop
shit,
won.
and that is the most unremarkable game ever made.
Yeah, Deathloop won what? It was like best directing, which is bullshit. It won best art direction, which is fucking laughable because that game looks like shit.
It win like best
Especially when it was
narrative or some shit. Like,
it might have, but like the art direction one to me was the most like fucking stupid because it's like it was up against shit like Psychonauts 2 and
Really?
Kenna, and they were like,
Oh my
yeah,
god!
yeah,
Oh, I
Deathloop
forgot.
is the
Yeah,
best
it
art
was.
direction. It's like, what are you smoking? Like you're like money, I guess, but yeah, but yeah, that was fun. There were some good, cool announcements. Um, you know, Space Marine 2 is cool. Alan Wake 2 is cool. But yeah, other than that, just keeping up with stuff. Playing mobile games. Not playing Grand Blue. The usual.
Hopefully, you'll be playing Grand Blue Fantasy soon because of the new. Anyways, Dark.
yeah, I've been doing very much the same. I have been playing Final Fantasy, pretty much nonstop. Even now, beat Endwalker day 2 or 3, something like that. Fucked up my well, I didn't really fuck up my sleep schedule. I had a really weird one when Endwalker came out. I made it so that I would I woke up at 1 o'clock in the morning for Endwalker's release, and then I played it at 4 in the morning when it came out, because somehow it actually was playable. And then I would keep waking up really early to queue early and get in. So, been doing some EXs. Might be getting scammed right now. But who really knows? If I'm not getting scammed, then I make 7 million gil if this person gets a mount, which they will get a mount if it drops. So easy money.
Okay, so I guess again, everybody is playing Endwalker, but have anything else going on?
Not really as far as anime goes, honestly. Like I've been like keeping up with some stuff, obviously watched Stone Ocean, who the hell hasn't? Isn't. So
Spark, have you watched Stone Ocean?
I have not.
There you go.
Uh-oh.
Well, Spire famously hates JoJo, so
Yeah, I
True.
just detest JoJo. I think it's the worst series. I apologize. That's why I gave it. That's why I gave it the greatest disappointment. Or no, wait, when we did the decade awards, right? I gave it the worst series of the year or of the decade. That's why.
yeah, I remember that.
Anyway. Anyways, so pretty good, keeping up, and you'll be able to talk about one of the series that you watched coming up. Toast, what about you?
What? I forgot.
What
I don't know.
thing you just have amnesia, just like things happened?
2 weeks? When was the last podcast?
It was 2 weeks ago.
Was that Thanksgiving?
It was the 27th, so I don't know when that.
Myth got their new outfits. They not rigged by Gura's famous rigger. It's made by the same one who did Ina's rigging, so there's no glaring problems there. Good for them.
Okay.
Doesn't look like her though.
Who?
Gurez?
Oh,
Are
did
we
you see the
that
new one?
surprised considering the fact that her other alt outfit just gave her fucking cat ears and she's supposed to be a shark?
What you didn't see Gura's new one? It looks like her. I posted
I mean,
I mean,
these
it
days,
kind of looks like her.
What?
Oh, I mean, I didn't watch it. I just saw the thing you posted.
No, that's a fan art one.
Oh,
Here's the here. This is Gura's. There you go.
oh,
Yeah, it looks like her. Yeah, no weird Chikuma mask problems and layers not properly connected. Everything's good, no problems.
Yeah, well, I
Okay.
imagine after the fiasco of her first outfit, they're probably not working with that guy anymore.
No, it's credited as base model and a new outfit. So they might. Who knows? We'll see.
Anyways, anything
What
else?
else? Uh, I don't know.
Okay. Well, I guess if that's all, then
There's only VTubers.
yeah, there's
Yeah,
only
pretty much.
anyways. I guess for me, I haven't had too much. Oh, I finally got a treadmill for my home just in time when, like, literally the day after I got the treadmill, it started to go to like 20 degrees, 20 degrees around here, Fahrenheit around here. So that was a good call. So just in time. Other than that, I haven't been doing much. A little bit of running around, a bit. Fucking, I've been reading through a little bit more of
Why do
Amakano.
you need a treadmill? Just run outside.
Just run in circles in your house, dude.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah. Sometimes I do run outside, but then like when I don't mind actually just the cold if it's just cold, but around here, it's like really windy around here, and the wind, like when it becomes windy, it's like I I hate
It's
I
called
do I really,
Spire. It's called air resistance. Natural resistance.
I don't mind headwind even. I mind the fact that like when it's windy and
Yeah,
it's
it's like a
cold,
knife on your ears.
it's like bone chilling. I don't like that feeling. I'm
Just
okay
wear
with just the cold like setting in. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean here? It's like if
Yeah,
it's just
yeah.
cold, like you can
Trust me,
stand it.
I
Yeah.
know.
But it's like when you're like in the cold and it's windy and you're like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here.
The worst is when it's super cold and the
Yeah.
wind is blowing in your eyes, and then your eyes start to tear up. It's like,
And then,
oh,
God damn it.
I'm
I've
on
had
the
it.
I'm on the
I've had it
opposite
like
camp
it's
there.
been
I
so
like
cold for me that like my eyes have teared up and they've started to like
Yeah, and then
freeze
freeze
over.
up.
It's like,
Yeah.
it's yeah, fucking awful.
yeah, I
Oh
don't
my
know what's wrong
god.
with you guys. I like when there's high winds. It's more resistance, and it proves your metal, Spire.
Yeah, it builds character. It's like Calvin Hobbes.
It's
It's
like
like Calvin's dad. It's like it builds character.
it's like weighted clothes, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
So it
Anyways,
sounds like you can't keep up your body's homeostasis, Spire.
I'm not sure if that's the correct word I
Yes,
used,
it
but
is.
yeah.
You have to regulate your body temperature versus the outside temperature. You can also do something called
I think you're talking about
shivering,
habituation.
like in
You grow to that
Toriko.
level. Yeah.
No,
No, you got to use your Demon Slayer breathing technique, dude.
I got to use photosynthesis. I think that's
and
the.
if
Yeah.
all else fails, just wear what is it the thermal underwear, the undergarment. Then just run around with a t-shirt. There you go.
Anyways, other than that, I haven't been up to much. I've been reading a little bit more of Amakano, which is nice.
Oh, are we gonna get your famous VN review? Hold on, let me pull up my new list.
Your new list. I mean, usually my VNs. The thing is, it's like these days, the visual novels that have come out are usually by like the very like tier one studios, like the biggest studios, and the biggest studios are usually like stuff like Ubisoft, where they release very, 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 very vanilla stuff. I almost pronounce vanilla with a B. I'm not sure why, but
He's
they
becoming
pronounce
Japanese.
yeah, panida. But yeah, it's very vanilla stuff. It's the kind of stuff that you look at and you're like, yeah, I read this in kindergarten once. I think
Yeah.
it's very like I don't like it. So Amakana at least saves me a little bit from that, but it's still pretty like standard cheesy stuff. Anyways,
How have you what is this called what is this called in English?
oh, there have been a lot of stuff coming out recently that I do. Some of the stuff I do want to check out. Well, I don't know if I want to check out these. God damn it! I want to try the whatever the not the. I want to. Yeah, I need to. Well, I have the raw version of of Kimagure Temptation. I don't even need to read the translation. I've had Kimagure Temptation for like a year or so now. Maybe I should read Aikagi and the icing love coding thing. I don't know, but other than that, the other stuff is all Nukige, right? So it's whatever. Like at that point, it's kind of whatever.
Spire,
You are
how's
missing out, my friend.
how's Made for Pleasure? I heard it's 20% off.
Wait, you asked me for a review of how the overall game is, I'm assuming, and then you follow it with it's 20% off,
I
as
see
if
it
that's supposed to
20% off
affect.
on Steam. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that means
but
it's
having
20% better.
Yeah, that's true.
Spire, it went from $9.99 to $7.99. It's $8.
Damn.
You're trying to push this idea of the fact that if it's cheaper, I'm going to rate it higher, which I may not necessarily do. You might
about
need to
Bang
consider.
for your buck, dude.
Yeah.
Spire,
Literally.
what about free? I see a free one here.
Oh my god.
You want
Please.
what is it called? Wild Romance?
Is it what the fuck is Wild Romance? Oh, is that the one that's no? I'm not thinking of that, right? Wait, what is this?
It's wow.
D&D?
Tsubaki's called Tsubaki. Wow. Hold on.
I mean, that sometimes happens in the translation. It is this one. Yeah, but the thing is, they in the Steam version they literally took out all of the HCG and all of the like edo scenes. So it just like but the issue is, so you guys need to hear that. Okay, so this game, which is called Wild Romance, localized title, it is
It's
called.
not very wild if they removed all the HCG, but all right.
Yeah, but it's called like Kemono Mimi Haram
Oh,
Vacation.
this
Your
one.
harem? Yeah.
田舎でのんびりもふもふ獣耳少女たちとこっくり三昧 but it's like living with like all these Miko like animal ear girls, right? So
Yeah.
this is obviously a nukige, right? It like anybody looking at it is like this is a nukige. Like
I think you mean Kino.
yeah, Kino.
But Spire, just get the Mofu edition. It's $15.
But why would I have to? I don't want to pay $15 to play a Nukige.
Oh,
but
God,
anyways,
I hate supporting developers.
All right, Spire,
Okay,
Spire,
okay,
here,
buddy.
here, I got you. Spire, I got you. There's a free version, but do you know what the kicker is?
What?
The free version of what is it? Wild Romance. You have to play it in Chinese.
You have to play in Chinese. I think that's called piracy, Toast.
It's right here. It says right here, free to play.
I think those hit 2 hits means you have to play.
Free to play, English not supported though.
It might be because of the piracy thing. But what I want to say is that so this is very obviously a Nukige game. For those of you who don't know what a Nukige is, it's a visual novel or an eroge that's very focused on just sex scenes. So it's like a little bit of like character introduction will happen and then sex scene, and then they'll like have some like banter and then another thing, and then it'll be the next scene, and then they'll talk a little bit, and then it'll be a sex scene. You know? So
yeah,
that's
basically my life.
Yeah, pretty much me. But yeah, that's essentially what a Nukige is. It's just blasting you with HCGs all day. So this is a Nukige, and its selling point are those sex scenes, right? In the Steam version, they took out all of those sex scenes. So apparently, all of what the reviews say is all it is just like random disconnected parts where the characters are getting introduced, and then it's just like the next day, and then the characters are just like, "Yeah, we're doing stuff," and then it immediately skips to like the day after, and it's all like disconnected, and there's like no story.
Just the MC has narcolepsy.
Exactly. He just sleeps for like 8 hours randomly throughout the day. Just like he falls asleep when the girls are coming on to him. But yeah, that's.
I got one more to ask about. It's also came out this week on Steam.
What's happening?
How's the humbling of a holy maiden?
I saw that one. I have zero opinions on that.
20% off. You want it?
Again, no, I don't want it.
Why not?
Because I don't want to play
got
it.
a copy.
This guy hates religion.
Yeah, I just hate girls and religion. I apologize. But anyways, that's been pretty much my 2 weeks. Not too much going on. A little bit of Amkono, some anime watching, but not too much after that. Anyways,
how was your Thanksgiving, Spire?
Thanksgiving was pretty quiet. I spent it with my family, but it's
Why was
not.
that? Why did you say that like a question mark?
Oh, it was
He
just
has
like
his
it.
I had to
suspicions.
remember. I had to remember what human beings do.
Yeah. It's like Men in Black. I have to make sure that like I have to get
Yeah.
everything and act together. But anyways, I did spend it with my family. It was pretty well. Well, it was relatively quiet, except for the fact that more than half of my week involved taking like I for 4 days or for 4 days in a row, I took an average of 2 medical examinations per day, and that was, or like operations per day, and that was very interesting. And by interesting, I meant not very pleasant, but it is what
For
it is.
what?
Just like going through various auto learn psychology, which is eyes, nose, ears, doing blood work, teeth examination, oral surgery, eye examination, the whole shebang.
Was it meningitis?
No, no, it is not meningitis.
It's flu
But
season. You guys should get your flu shots.
I do need to get my booster soon. I need to time it properly though. But anyways, I had a pretty quiet Thanksgiving overall, but we do have to move on. Again, this is the last set of reviews for this season. Next week will be preview shows, so just watch out for that. And first on our list is Toast. What do you
Right.
have for us today?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Well, I guess that's it. So Toast. Well, seriously, what are you covering?
Ye-
Yes.
What's that one movie called?
Oh my god.
You know
We
that
have
one.
no idea what you're talking about when you say that one movie.
What is the scariest movie in the world in 1999?
In 1999? The fuck?
I don't know.
Nobody knows.
Oh, right.
Where is this going, Toast?
You know what? You know the famous actor Sora from Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's that guy's name again?
Haley Joel
Um.
Osment?
Yeah.
Dang, what is that movie called with Bruce Willis?
Sixth Sense?
Yeah. That movie.
I wouldn't call that the
Yeah,
scariest.
that's not a horror movie. What are
it
you
is.
talking about?
There are
I don't know.
ghosts.
Yeah, that goes again.
Yeah.
I think like Sixth Sense is one of the scariest movies I've ever seen.
How many
Um,
scary movies have you seen? Toast?
Yeah.
I watch a lot. Like I like
Okay.
zombie movies, but
Okay.
what is the scariest movie I've seen? Maybe The Grudge, I guess.
Well, okay. So where is this going, Toast? Can we?
Ghosts.
Yeah.
Yes, ghosts.
Possessions.
Yes. Okay. So you're saying that the
Yeah,
Sixth Sense is like
Yeah.
Mieruko-chan?
Yes.
Okay, because they can
No,
see
you
the
said-
ghosts, right?
Why else, Fire?
Okay. I mean, there are other movies where people can see ghosts,
when-
but sure.
When did The Grudge come out?
Name a single
2002?
other movie where they can see ghost fire. How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fatal
Alright,
Frame.
can we-
Fatal
it's-
Frame. I don't know. All right. So
Come on.
what's Mieruko-chan about? About
Ghosts.
a chick who can see ghosts, and
Yes.
she has to pretend not to see them because in traditional folklore, if you see it,
This is actually. Oh, sorry for interrupting. This is actually a full series, right? This is not a short. Because I expected this to be a short almost.
why would this be a short? I never thought this would be a short.
I mean, it seems like a relatively episodic premise,
I wouldn't
right?
put it. There's a.
I wouldn't be like, oh, this could never be a short. Like it could be
Wow,
a short,
this
right?
hater.
It could be a short, I think.
Like 3 minutes? No,
Whoa,
I'm-
it's
like-
relatively episodic, right?
it's not a 4 coma. No, it's not 4 coma.
No.
I mean,
style.
not all shorts have to be based off Yonkoma, right? There could be
Like-
stuff that's not.
Like 2Q.
What?
Yeah. What?
There could be short anime or anime shorts that are not based off Yonkoma, right? You know, that could be a thing.
Name one.
I'm
Got you
I
there.
don't know.
Yeah, you just got fucking owned, dude.
I apologize.
Yeah. Yeah, it's full. Is it 12 episodes?
Yes,
Yes.
it is 12 episodes.
Well, then it's probably gonna end on. There's probably gonna be a season 2 because I'm 10 episodes in. We haven't even gotten to the first major arc yet. So yeah, I can definitely see this getting a season 2. Oh yeah. So yeah, it's about this chick who suddenly can see ghosts, and the uh, as fellow Asians here, sorry, Dark. The traditional folklore is that if you can see and acknowledge a ghost, as in the ghost knows you can see it, it can harm you. So the way she does it is she ignores the ghost some in whatever way she can, so that the ghost doesn't hurt her. It's supposed to be a funny premise, like, haha, here's a horror scene, but she's avoiding it. But the underlying premise is, oh, that's really kind of spooky. You know, you don't want to get cursed by weird ghosts. And it's not just, oh, she can see minor ghosts, she sees all the ghosts. Like, there's the minor ghosts that are somewhat harmless and, like, wander about doing their ghostly things. And, just stay to their own devices. Then there's the medium ghosts, which are a bit more hostile. And, it's like they pay attention to her, but once they notice that once they notice that once they believe that she's not looking at them, they just wander off and do their own thing. And then there's the real bad ghosts. Uh, I don't know, like actual yokai and demons and stuff that follow that they're just lurking around. And it's obvious that if you pay attention, if they acknowledge you, they'll probably kill you or do something really bad. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of fun ghost variety in here, just like
So
Phasmophobia.
overall though, this is a pretty like lax comedic slice of life series, episodic, right? People keep saying like okay, I'm reading some of these mal reviews and people are like, there's the plot of the anime, blah blah, but I'm like, there's no plot, right? It's just episodic.
There is a plot, but it only kicks in about halfway through, around episode 6.
Could you give us like a little bit of hint, as you don't have to like go through all of it, just give us like a little hint of what the plot kind of entails?
So, her name, whatever, name's Miko, but everyone calls her but it's called Mieruko-chan,
Right.
so
Yeah.
whatever. So Miko, uh, the plot starts around episode 6 or 4, I guess 4.
Okay.
Plot, I don't know, remember, but the actual plot starts to creep up in, I don't know, episode 3 or 4, I believe, where she's all like, oh, I'm gonna buy some prayer beads, because these ghosts are creeping around, salt doesn't work, and I'm starting to get tired of seeing these ghosts everywhere. So she goes to buy some prayer beads with Hana, and when she gets her prayer beads at the Don Quixote, is it Don Quixote? Basically Don Quixote. She's like, wow. She goes down a dark alley with Hana, as a shortcut, and then she notices the ghosts start like creeping away from her. She's like, wow, that's cool. These actually work. And then she encounters one of the really dangerous ghosts, and then it shatters her prayer beads immediately. So she's like, "Oh, this is bad." So they take a detour. Like after they go through the hall, the alleyway, they take a detour to some fortune teller shop, and the ladies there are like, "Oh, here's some kids. I'll just give them some cheap beads, like whatever, because I'm a con artist." But then when she notices the beads explode, she's like, "Oh, this is some serious shit." So that she gives Miko like better, like, "Oh, they call me the fairy godmother or something. I used to be a famous exorcist back in the day. And then, she gives her the most powerful beads that I have. And then when those shatter, she's like, oh, uh-oh. This is a real serious shit. I'm retiring.
Wait, that
And
still
she
sounds like a
cuts off.
comedic arc, though. That doesn't sound very serious. That still sounds pretty comedic, right? Because it's like, because she's like, oh, I'm really powerful. I did this.
That's just the beginning plot, really. It's like, oh, Miko's trying to take this seriously. That's when the plot, that's when I said the plot starts to appear. Well, like the real major arc is when Miko goes to a shrine with her friend Hana. She's all like, "Oh, please, shrine gods, help me with these ghosts," because Hana's being followed by this really dangerous ghost, and they don't know how to get rid of it. So Miko prays to the shrine to get rid of it. Then some basically fox spirits appear, some Shikigami. They exorcise the ghost. And then the fox spirits are like 3 times, saying it pretty much says that if you encounter dangerous ghosts 3 times, I'll save you. And so throughout the plot is she's used up her saving throws twice because she's encountered ghosts that could kill her twice. So she only has 1 saving throw left. That's where we are in episode 10. And I believe by the end of episode 12, she'll lose her. She'll be using her last, saving grace. And I guess that sets up for season 2, because I guess that's the end of the first major arc. She's 3 ghosts that she can't fight. And then the second major arc is where they bring in, I guess this is a spoiler, but they bring in more exorcists to appear,
I mean,
solve the problem.
the thing is, it still doesn't seem like it's not a serious plot, right? It's pretty much just like they're kind of playing out the whole like comedic aspect of like, oh, she's so freaking cursed that nothing can budge, like nothing can help her, right? It's not like a serious plot in any sense of the word, really, right?
I don't know. The plot seems pretty serious because I don't know. I wouldn't want to fuck with ghosts.
I mean, like your preferences for ghosts aside,
It's like
plot
ha, ha,
itself
ha,
is not
this funny ghost, and then I guess in Fatal Frame when you got the camera up and you see the blue light on the camera obscura. It's like haha, it's a benign ghost. Let's take a picture of it. But then when the fuse flashes red or the whatever it is, it's like, oh shit, real fight time. Kind of like that.
Or like I guess I shouldn't say it's like a very like obvious like slapstick kind of humor, but it seems like it's a pretty sort of like I don't know. It's like a mix of like a manzai and like a macabre kind of stuff where it's like, oh, I tried something. I'm seriously trying something. And then like, oh, it's too powerful. I'm running away. Like that again, the fairy godmother thing, right? Where it's like, oh, I'm retiring because fuck it. you're on your own. That sort of thing. And that's essentially the shtick.
But I guess
right?
a spoiler. She comes back season 2. She's all like, oh, I better get some real Okay, fine. I'll spoil it. She goes on a training arc. But yeah, the slapstick comedy parts are when it's the normal benign ghost. Like, haha, look, there's this ghost that's a runner, and he's like running around the track, and then Miko's like, hey Hana, I'll race you, haha. And they race, and then the ghost is like, haha, loser, I'm faster than you.
Oh, I see what you were saying. Okay, so the structure is more like there are scary parts where it's like seriously, oh shit, something's happening, so they have like a serious like bit in it, and then they all have the comedic bits in it, and then in the middle of it, the thing that's sort of integrating the entire thing is they have an overall sort of I guess like a development plot of sorts where development / adventure like journey kind of sorts where Mieruko-chan or Miko is kind of going through and trying to find all these solutions. And it's not necessarily an episodic thing. It's a much more of a gradual, like she can kind of look back and remember the stuff and so on and so forth.
No, it's pretty episodic. Like I've been saying.
Okay, then there's no plot. Why are you trying to convince me that there was a plot?
The plot only kicks in when
there can still be an underlying plot.
The plot only kicks in when it's the actual dangerous ghost stuff, like I've been saying, where she's encountered dangerous ghosts and she had to go to the shrine to help them out. But when the comedic points are just when it's the normal ghosts, like, oh, here's a ghost and there's what is it? Oh, there's a ghost in the locker. Hey, you know that urban legend about a head in the locker? Like, huh? Like, Miko, I'm scared. Can you get my phone? And then she's like, okay. And then there's a head in the locker and it screams at her and she's like, oh, good thing there was nothing there. Like the benign
So
ghosts, the normal ghosts,
okay.
those are the funny parts. But the dangerous ghosts, that's when the plot kicks in, kind of thing.
Okay, so there's a series of mini arcs based around like the scary shit, right? And she gradually is trying to find like whatever is working or not working, right? And then in between, there's like interspersed comedic bits. Is that how it works?
Wait, what do you mean by trying to find a solution? The solutions are
Or,
just
or trying? Yeah, I mean the solutions they don't work, but she's trying to find various things to kind of ward off the ghosts or like anything that can help her
that's
fend off the
that's
scary ghosts.
that's the serious plot.
Right. So those are there are like mini arcs or that kind of gradually develop her kind of journey, right? That kind of that record her journey, right? To find, something to get rid of these ghosts, right? And then in the like randomly kind of spread out somewhere, in between,
The slice of
there
life
are the
parts
comedic.
is when
Yeah.
it's the regular ghosts. And
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah. Okay.
there's also a third there's also a third arc of ghosts where it's the actual benevolent spirit kind of thing.
Hmm.
Where it's like oh here's a heartwarming thing about a dude surrounded by like what Miko finds a stray cat. Then
Hmm.
some she's like hey on her SNS she's like hey we found a stray cat anyone will adopt it. And then some dude comes up and he's surrounded by dark ghosts. He's like, hey, I want that cat. She's like, no, go away. He's like, damn, okay. And then some other dude shows up, looks like a Yakuza. He's got all scars on him, but he's surrounded by the, you know, friendly cat spirits because he took care of these cats well. And he's like, oh, okay, maybe you're not so bad. And, she gives the cats to him. And it's like, oh, that's cool. That's
Right.
sweet. And then there was another part where there's this evil haunt. There's this what is it? One of her teachers is pregnant, and she's all like, "Oh, I haven't been feeling well lately." And then Miko sees this weird spirit gathering around her. She's like, "Oh no, it's an evil spirit." But then the teacher's like, "This is actually our second child because the first one died in childbirth." And then Miko sees like, "Oh, it's actually the firstborn protecting the secondborn," and she's like, "That's cool." So
So there's like some more like cathartic parts, like sympathy part or sympathetic
yeah, because
parts.
she sees all the ghosts, not just evil spirits, so she can see the
Right,
good ones
right,
too.
right.
But
Okay, okay.
but yeah, that
I
I
think
mean,
I think that's an interesting mix, at least, where it's not just going for the comedic stuff all the time, and it's not trying to cheese out the scary stuff all the time, and it has like this interesting balance, at least.
yeah, but there was a what is it? An inversion of the plot, like late in the latest episode where she was all like, "Oh, maybe this is there are good spirits and bad spirits. Maybe this isn't so bad." And then she's in the park, she waves at a random kid who's waving at her, but then
Mhm.
the kid suddenly goes all dark, and it turns out it was an evil spirit, and she's like, "Oh shit!" And then and then she gets that's her second saving throw, and she's all like, "Okay, now." She was trying to see whether a spirit was good or bad, and then it attacked her. And she's like, "Okay, forget this. I'm gonna I'm not gonna deal with this anymore."
Right,
So,
right.
that's the whole point of Mieruko-chan.
Oh,
Even
okay,
if you can
okay.
see good and bad spirits, better just avoid them altogether because if they don't know you can see them, they won't know you're there. What is it? What is it? Don't look into the abyss or something. What's the saying?
Once you gaze into the if you gaze into the abyss, if you gaze into the abyss long enough, the gaze or the abyss stares back or something like that. That's
Yeah,
it's neat.
sure.
Yeah,
But yeah, what else? Who made this?
you said that. Yeah.
Passione. You know Passione is most famous for?
Citrus.
No,
What?
Ishizu. interspecies
Yeah,
reviewers. Oh,
I
yeah.
apologize. You're right. You are correct. It's interspecies reviewers. In a certain
Also-
sense, you are correct.
Also, Bug Island. Hell yeah. Bug Island
Oh,
sucked.
no.
Shit.
Did I talk about Bug Island? I did, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Yes. Hell yes. Anyways,
I
what
mean,
about the
like-
audio visual? No?
Okay, audio visuals. They're both good and bad, I would say.
What do you mean?
It really depends on the context. You know, we have like pretty much everyone knows this is what a manga original turned into an anime.
Mm-hmm.
You know how Junji Ito's anime kind of sucked.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, it was supposed to be Junji Ito, his manga's super scary, and when it turned to anime, it's like it's not that scary. Kind of like that.
Yes. Okay, okay. So the style
So
doesn't mesh well with what
that's
standard
it's
anime series wants to do.
No, it's the style doesn't mesh well with horror in some aspects, but but in some other aspects it's better. Like well, that scene where I talked about where she was waving at a kid, and she was waving at a kid, and the kid suddenly turned to a ghost and attacked. It was way scarier in the manga because I guess because manga's
I don't know.
basically black and white, right? So you got
Yeah, yes, and the lines are a little bit more stark,
you
right?
can get
Yeah.
you can get harder, more distinct lines in manga than anime. So
I understand that
I guess what
completely.
I'm
Yeah.
saying is like the super scary ghosts aren't as scary
Mhm.
when you compare it to the in the manga versus the anime. But that's due
Right.
to the color palette,
Mhm.
because in the anime it takes place during all times of day, right? You can get you can get ghosts morning, noon, and night. The ghosts are definitely scary at night for due to being at night and darker. But in the morning, or in the day, it's like, oh, here's a bright day, and then here's this gray ghost with the spooky dark mist coming at you, and it's pretty much the contrast that doesn't make it as scary.
Right, right, right.
That's a basic horror thing. It's a lot scarier in the dark when there's a less visible light than it is in the day.
I understand that. Yeah. Okay,
But yeah, it's
okay.
not that bad. And then there's parts where it does better. You know, the good ghosts, because in like again, this is the same thing with the color contrast. You get better lighting, more. They just the good benign ghosts that are white. They look better in the anime than in the manga, because the manga is just, oh, here's a white spirit, and I'm like, oh, cool. But yeah,
Okay.
it's a mixed contrast.
No, I
But
understand
overall,
though.
yeah, then the anime is it's pretty good, pretty faithful. Adaptation wise, it follows the manga. You know,
Mhm.
in the beginning, it follows the manga to a T. Like, oh, here's this chapter, but then they vary it up, like over
Oh, they
later
pick
episode.
from different chapters, like further on ahead and stuff like that. Is what you're.
No, there's small arcs, but it's like, here's this chapter, and then they skip around.
Yeah. That's what I
Like
meant. They skip around a little bit.
this episode, like for example, one episode is like comprised of 3 or 4 chapters in the manga. They just skip around the chapters a bit, but it overall ends up the same,
Right.
that kind of thing. So the plot wise, or the flow is pretty much, it's jumbled around a bit, but it's still followable. Is what I'm saying.
Mhm.
It doesn't really change much, and then some characters make brief cameos earlier than they should really appear compared to the manga. But again, it doesn't really detract at all from the plot, the flow of the series. It's fine.
It's fine. Hey.
I don't really have any complaints about how they mix up the chapters. It doesn't really affect it at all. Voice actor, who's Sora Amamiya? I don't know who you are.
Yeah. Who's this voice
Who are
actress?
you? As your
uh,
lane illustrious, I don't feel that familiar at all. Then
Anyways, any last words on the series then?
I will say that the fake exorcist girl, like, oh, I'm a powerful spiritualist, but I can only see the tiny ghosts. I can't see the big dangerous ones. Ah, she's voiced by Ayane Sakura, and you know how I feel about her. She's cool, I guess.
I guess she's okay.
She's all right.
Only one of the top, voice actresses in Japan right now.
But yeah, overall, this is a pretty successful adaptation of Mieruko-chan. I don't have any glaring complaints about it.
Right.
Good. Is it a must-watch? Hell yeah! I like ghosts. I like the 13 Ghosts of Scooby Doo. I never finished it though. I only watched like one episode, maybe two.
Okay.
Have you guys seen that? That's
No.
Yeah.
like whenever I bring that up randomly, people are like, "What the hell is that?" It used to be. Did you not have Cartoon Network, Dark?
I mean, I do. I don't watch TV.
Oh, all right.
Right.
But yeah,
Anyways,
it's good. Would I say that it's better than the manga? No. Like I said earlier, they have their own strengths due to the medium of the art. But if you had to pick one, I guess you could pick whatever you want. Really, they're both good in their own
I
ways.
like how you were like, if you had to pick one, just do either.
You can do
I mean,
just do yeah. They're both good in their own ways.
okay.
Either pick the manga or the anime.
Okay.
You can't really do wrong with either one. Is what I'm saying. That's a good thing. Unlike some other series. What am I rated? I'll rate it a 9 out of 10. Not a 10
Okay.
out of 10 because I'm waiting for season 2.
All
Then it'll be a 10 out of 10. So yeah, you sucks to be you guys. I got the good one.
right. At least you had fun with your series. Again, thank you, Toast, for covering
I'm
Mieruko-chan.
I'm glad my my expectations for this series were not betrayed at all. Unlike
We're
another
met,
series.
yes.
Well, they were met. I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh
no, that's what I said.
yeah. So I'm glad I wasn't betrayed at all. Unlike some other series that got canceled after like 1 month of being out.
Anyways, thank you, Toast. Again, this is Mieruko-chan by Passione Studios. And if you
Isn't
want to check that out.
Part 5?
What?
Huh?
What are you
Isn't
talking about?
Passione Part 5?
What do you
What are
mean?
you talking about?
Yeah, Passione has the gang in part 5
Yeah,
of
yeah.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Oh, okay.
Dude,
Well,
I
not
apologize
even
for
an
not
anime fan?
having.
Oh my
Yeah,
god.
sorry, I'm not.
I
I'm
mean,
not an
I
anime.
was like, no, like David Production did part 5, like all the other parts. Like what? But yeah.
Anyways, so that was it for Toast. And moving on, we have Dark. What do you want to cover for us today?
I have a show called what is it called? Oh shit. I keep thinking it's called The Vampire is Already Dead, but that's not the name.
The vampire dies in no time. In no
Yeah, the
time.
vampire dies in no time.
It's
Okay.
it's a Kyuuketsuki Shinu. They essentially pretty much transliterated it, or they translated it very literally.
Okay. I mean, which is fair. This is a Madhouse comedy series, comedy
Yes.
supernatural, in which our two main characters, one is a vampire hunter and the other is a over 200-year-old vampire. They call him like an immortal vampire or something. But so yeah, without giving away a lot of the bits, because I don't want to do that. But lo and behold, the main character, the vampire hunter, encounters him as like to hunt him, and very quickly realizes that he's just weak and turns to dust and resurrects constantly for basically any sort of damage dealt to him whatsoever.
Even a stake through the heart and garlic, that kind of thing?
Yeah, garlic turns him into dust. If you clap your hands when he's not expecting it close to him, he'll turn to dust. If you kick him in the shin, he will turn to dust. So on and
You
so
what?
forth. But
So weak.
he can't die.
So who do you think would win in a fight? This vampire or one of the ghosts from Mieruko-chan?
I mean, that's more like a unstoppable force meets an object type deal.
Do,
'Cause
can,
no matter what,
va-
like he has not
are-
been able to die. He has been hit by sunlight, and he's just turned to ash and then comes back.
what if you
Yeah,
eat the ash?
I would assume it would be a
They'll-
sort of like Ant-Man Thanos type scenario.
Yeah, what if you spread? What if you keep spreading the ashes out? Does he like split into like smaller versions of himself?
And they all instantly die the moment you
Now,
clap
I
and
for
you,
them.
and you
haven't
keep spreading them, and he gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and then eventually he'll
I
be
have
like
not
he'll be
I have not
microscopic.
gotten far enough to determine whether or not that happens.
Hold on a second. Are vampire hunters equipped to handle ghosts or just purely vampires? And
In
basically
this,
werewolves.
definitely just vampires.
Like, you can fight a vampire in the same way you can fight a werewolf, which is kind of weird, don't you think?
Yeah, with a gun.
I think
With
in
silver,
some
it's weird.
scenarios they're I think they're considered similar like strains of the same sort of curse. On which
All right.
underworld movie you watch.
I
Anyway,
mean, like, you
um,
can stab a vampire through the heart with a stake, but you can do that with a werewolf too. It's like,
I mean, you could also do that with a person.
Yeah,
So
you do
Yeah,
that
I
with,
know.
you do that
do
with
that
a
with
lot of things,
things.
really.
But yeah, so there's obviously there's a lot of comedic bits with that. But the show does surround like it is surrounded by the idea that he now has this vampire tagging along with him because he couldn't kill him, fucked up his home. Now he's got nowhere to live, so he lives with him in his like shitty apartment slash like vampire hunting agency, which he writes like novels about his adventures, and so you kind of go from there where they tackle like vampire jobs to hunt down other vampires because apparently, what's his name? I think his name is just Dracul, the main guy, and
I wonder
his
who that is.
bloodline. Yeah, his bloodline sort of sees humans as like and society as extremely convenient and wants to like live in the shadows with them, or just like I think he literally calls it like fun. So that's like sort of his motivation to try and like take down other vampires when questioned like one of the other hunters was like, isn't this like fratricide? It's like, don't compare me to the people. But yeah, I think so far plot wise and like story wise and bit wise, there's been some pretty good bits. There have been some like kind of like not great bits, but there've been some pretty fun ones. Audio visual wise, the visuals are not great. But for a lot, I mean, like they get the job done in a lot of ways.
Mhm.
There are some scenes that are pretty okay. There are some that aren't. The OP is very fun. Actually, I don't think I've seen the ED yet. I go back and check that. The OP is very fun. And the audio itself is very good. I think the performances are pretty good. The OST is strangely good in my and it's the same person who did music for what was it like Aka 13? Is that what it was? That show?
Oh,
And then
really?
Yeah, and I'm trying to think of what other show. Let me look it up because there was another show that was like kind of standout that I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense as to like why I enjoy soundtrack. But yeah, I would say the
You, s-
music is pretty standout. Like it doesn't.
you said
It
Yu
f-
Takahashi, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
Yo Takahashi.
Oh wait,
Oh,
they did
Skate,
the opening
Skate the
for
Infinite as
Princess.
well. Yeah, and
Yeah, they
Princess
also did the
Principal.
opening. Yeah, Princess Principal opening was good
Yeah,
as
so
well.
yeah, I would say that's honestly like one of the more standout parts of the show too.
Hmm.
Is how much I'm enjoying like music because while it fits the scenes, but it's also like really stand out at certain points. Which is
Right.
fun.
Okay. Okay. Uh, so in terms of how do I say this? Wait, this is also a full series, right? If I remember
Yes,
correctly.
it is a full.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised because it's like a lot of these are. Well, I guess Mieruko-chan I'm not as
I
surprised
think.
by because it's full, but it's.
I think
I'm
in
not saying that's
regards to the
bad.
series.
I'm saying it's
Well,
surprising
I
a
think
little
it would have
bit.
been better served if it was 10-minute episodes because it is
Oh, you
split
think
up.
so?
It is, yeah. I mean, it's split up into a lot of different parts in certain areas
Mhm.
where it's like, to the point where I think it was like episode 2. I was like halfway through, and I was like, damn, like that felt like a really long 10 minutes.
Mhm.
Um, so I think it would have actually been better served if it was like a shorter series in that regard.
Right.
But I don't think what's
Mm.
there is necessarily, I don't think it's really a series that I would binge too much just because the humor does kind of get a little tired after a little bit.
And the
But
energy, I'm guessing, like they kind of have an initial energy, but again, the shtick is too repetitive and the energy kind of doesn't keep up. I'm assuming from the bit I watched of
I
it.
mean, yeah, no, there's a decent amount. Like it is kind of constant, but it also does kind of make it like overbearing if you watch too
Hmm.
much of it back to back. I
Ah,
felt
okay,
like
okay.
once I got around like episode 4 and 5,
So it kind
this
of
feels
keeps
like a
like
lot.
pushing that premise, like oh, like this is happening. Like it kind of drills, like hammers that all like into your head.
Yeah, it'll do like
Basically.
another scenario with another character tailing them or something, and
Right, right.
vampire, and shit like that. So
Mhm.
it does,
I understand.
it does get pretty like overbearing, but
Mhm.
I think overall it's a pretty good series. I don't think it's incredible. I think it does have some pretty standout fun parts so far. I think it does have obviously, like I said, a really good soundtrack. I think that's fun. The OP was really cool. So I think it definitely does have redeeming qualities, and I think it's worth like checking out, and maybe more of like just a casual watch, like not like if you have nothing better to do, but like if you want something that is just like an easy watch, like with
Mhm.
some light comedy, then go.
All right. Okay, okay. I can understand that. All right. I guess if that's all, then that was Dark's review, succinct and uh, review of Kyuuketsuki Shinu. It is again Madhouse, I believe, right? You said it was.
Sure
Is
is.
this the only one that Madhouse is? I'm sure Madhouse is doing like one or two other series, right? In this
I would
Doing
hope so,
tactile.
or they're really like,
Tactop, yeah, Tactopus. I was like, I remember
oh
like
yeah,
us during the preview season, like a couple months back, being like, oh, Madhouse is taking up a couple things, and this is where the money. We were like, always as usual, we were discussing where the money goes, right? And the money definitely went to Tactopus, right? I mean, obviously, it's not like they shit the bed with this, but the money is obviously going to Tactopus. But
I mean,
anyway, yeah.
there is plenty here that's just like, damn, that was you guys did not spend much on this, huh? But I guess it gets the job done. I think it would be
Right,
nice if it had gotten like more,
right. You know.
but oh well.
Uh, Yeah, they
So,
probably didn't get too much on the overall contract for this. So,
so what other fun ways does the vampire die? Like, can like Can you flush him like if once he turns to ash, can you flush him down a toilet and then he'll be like he reappears in the sewers? That kind of
They
thing.
do after he burns in the sunlight, this kid shovels him into a trash bag and brings it home. But then his mom tells him he can't have a pet vampire, so he throws him out. Resurrects since he was in the dark. So
Nice.
there was that.
Okay. Pretty good.
Have you guys played? Was it
Oh yeah, the voice
Castlevania
cast is
2?
good too. Pretty good cast.
Have they done a plot point where they're like, oh, once he turns to ash, let's split him across to 5 parts across the world. He has to
No,
find his body first
I
or
don't
whatever.
think anyone wants to put that much effort into keeping him dead. I don't think anyone
I mean,
cares about.
Yeah, his
That was
life is not that
that was the whole point of
important.
Simon's Quest, and that was fun.
Yeah, there is a bit of like the supreme, like the elite hunters. Um, the girl in the thumbnail like tailing him, thinking that he's feigning his weakness to get close
Ah,
to
okay, okay.
people. And
Right, right.
that turns out pretty much exactly how you would expect.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Okay, okay.
there's a lot of there is a lot of fun with that. I think that plot point will also become a potential like high point too.
Okay. Pretty good. And again, thank you, Dark, for helping to cover this. Again, this was The Vampire Dies in No Time, Kyuuketsuki Shinu, Madhouse series. If you want to check it out, please do so. It's uh, right now it's in episode 10, right? Yeah, everything's
Yep.
in episode 10. So please do check it out. And next we have Nier. What do you have for us
Wow.
today?
So I watched Gyakuten Sekai no Denchi Shoujo, which is also known as Rumble Garanndoll.
Yes.
Um, this is a Lurche series,
Yeah,
and
Lerche pretty solid. They at least for me, I know them most for doing Majikoi back in the day, but they've obviously done a bunch of other stuff. I
yeah,
believe their most famous series is arguably either Danganronpa or Ansatsu Kyoshitsu, right? Assassination Classroom is probably their most famous because it's
I mean, they did Fate Grand Carnival, so
oh,
you know,
I apologize. Yeah, that
Damn,
you
he's got you
know.
there.
but yeah, it's probably Danganronpa. S Class is also quite quite popular.
Oh, I always forget they fucking did a Carnival of Phantasm. Fuck. Yeah, okay.
Um,
Anyways, they're a solid studio.
yeah,
Sorry,
they've
keep going.
done Asobi Asubase, a lot. They've done a lot of stuff. Um, but
You
yeah, so
forgot you
this
forgot the most important one.
what?
Hakume and Mikochi.
Yeah, it's true. They do that as well.
Anyways, keep going.
Yeah,
Um,
you notice that you actually review a lot of Lurche series?
That's a good
uh,
thing.
yeah,
Hakume
yeah.
I think
Mikochi,
that's a good thing. That's not
Asobi
a
Asubase Kino. Was it a Toilet Bound Hanako-kun? Damn,
Yeah,
they got your number.
but yeah. So this series is a mecha comedy series.
right.
And so the basic plot synopsis is in 2019 um a a portal to another dimension appeared over the skies of Japan.
Don't you
Um,
mean over China
yeah.
with
Uh,
the virus?
um,
All right. Go on.
and this is basically like another world, another dimension. Um, and they call themselves Shinkoku Nippon. Um,
Right.
and they basically conquered Japan. Um, and they outlawed like Japanese culture, basically. Um, so anime is outlawed, idol stuff is outlawed, you know, tokusatsu stuff is outlawed, basically just like media, um, like it's all like outlawed, basically. There's a couple like districts here and there where like people can partake in some minor like pleasures and stuff, but like for the most part it's like this weird occupational force kind of thing.
Yeah.
um and so there's this resistance, um and uh I forget what they call themselves, but like um their like headquarters is based in Akihabara, or what's left of it, right?
Hmm.
And essentially Akihabara has turned into this like graveyard of like weird culture like stuff. So like there's um like the Statue of Liberty and shit is there for some reason. But yeah, so this is a mecha series, and the series starts off with the main character. He's working in a host club, basically,
Yes.
and he's super in debt, um, and he's trying to work it off. And then I guess the district that his club is in uh, apparently gets like claimed as like a refuge for like uh, rebels or whatever, and so like uh, the army or whatever attacks it, right? And of course
Hmm.
he gets caught up in it, and this mech saves him, and it turns out the mech doesn't have a pilot, and so he gets in the robot and he tries to escape. Uh, as it turns out, the mech is piloted by a what's called a battery girl, um, and in order to power the mech, the battery works off the battery girl's like passion, and uh, battery
What?
girl in this mech is like she gets super fired up about being a hero, right? Um and it's like this super, basically like childish wonderment kind of thing. She's super in love with like uh this like fake common writer thing called Zaburn. Um and
Oh,
like
is it
basically
like the is it like Orega Twintail Twintails ni narimasu? I will the Twintails series where
yeah,
it's like the premise was like they're working off of the passion, like the
yes,
passion attribute of people.
they
Yeah,
literally
yeah.
call it like the
Man,
passion like engine or
this sounds
whatever.
like a
Okay, okay,
G.
okay.
This sounds like a bootleg version of a G Stone.
Uh-huh. But
Yeah, you know what a G Stone is, right?
I don't think so,
From Gao
honestly.
Gaigar.
Oh, right, yeah, yeah.
The G Stone
Um,
powered by courage. Hell yeah.
yeah, basically. So, um, the way the mech works is essentially, uh, there's a girl, that gets put into a battery, which is basically a, like the thing that goes into like an Ava. It's basically one of those, right? They
Yeah,
stick it on
yeah,
the back of the mech. The girl sits inside, and then depending on how pumped up she is, that depends like that's how like powerful the mech gets. Um,
yeah.
and it's the pilot's job to pump, like to keep the girl, you know, pumped up, um, and also pilot the mech on top of it, right?
Right.
Um, and so the first there's multiple girls the way, but the first one he encounters like is this like super, she's kind of this childish girl who has like this dream of being a hero basically, and
Hmm.
her vision of a hero is basically a common writer, right? And so the main character is like, you know, this is really embarrassing and stupid, right? Um, so he tries to use his experience as a host to sort of put on this like fake face, to where he's like, yeah, yeah, I'm totally pumped up with this like hero stuff, right? Um, but then the girl like sees through it, and she's like you're not into this at all, right? And so the mech like powers down. Um,
Oh, yeah, okay.
and then he basically has to uh
Convince like the girl, right?
yeah, he
It's like
basically has to like essentially
encourage.
look inwards to into himself and be like, okay, yeah, I do actually like this superhero shit, because like
Oh,
the
okay.
the ringtone on his phone is apparently uh like the opening theme to this Zaburn show or whatever, which is this girl's like favorite show. And he has to be like, you know, essentially overcome his like embarrassment, to like really get into like, calling out move names as he's piloting this mech and stuff like that.
Right. Right.
So the first like 3 episodes of this show is basically like a a sort of tongue-in-cheek, self-aware like celebration of like mecha tropes. You know what I mean? Like not so much mecha as a genre, but specifically like the tropes of like having to like get super hyped up specifically just to power the mech. Calling out your move names, making you stronger, stuff like that.
So
Um,
because I mean mecha is one thing, but is it mecha or are they kind of working it? Are they taking a jab at like mecha plus magical girls plus like like the kind of like precure kind of shit going on, right? Are they doing that or is it strict? Because
To
I
be
feel like
honest,
the passion thing is more of a magical girls thing, right?
a lot of mecha stuff is basically magical girl stuff for boys. But
Yeah, that is very true. But you know what I'm
but
talking about,
but
right?
yeah, you're right. I mean, a lot of it is like
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
Is
know.
it
I'd say magical girls are kind of mecha stuff for girls.
passion
Mansplained,
being
yeah.
you're putting passion as a magical girl trope. That's only in recent years. Passion is a shonen trope, Spire.
Yeah, I
Don't you know?
apologize. Only shonen magazines and Shonen Jump have passion. That's
yeah.
true. But anyway, sorry, keep going.
What? Okay.
But yeah, so the first 3 episodes are really really good in my opinion. They're really really funny. Like I said, they're a very good like tongue in cheek like celebration of like a lot of mecha um tropes and like you know it's basically like just like a crystallized comedy version of like every like super hype mecha scene like you can really imagine. um there's transformations and stuff. Uh there's mecha battles like just shouting all over the place, stuff like that.
Hmm.
And it's quite good. um but then in episode 4 they introduce the other battery girl, right? um and she's an idol. Uh,
Okay.
yeah. So, uh, apparently, idol culture is also outlawed, right? So, um, the second battery girl is like she's an underground idol. And they introduce her as like a one man idol group, basically, because she was in a group, but all the others have been arrested, right? Um,
What?
and so she's doing performances like all on her own or whatever. Um,
Okay.
and so they recruit her, um, and basically the entire arc is like her trying to be like everyone's like perfect idol or whatever.
Okay.
And like she has to deal with like haters and stuff online and like this underground like social network stuff. Um, and
What's
it's kind of just not as good of an arc because a lot of it's kind of just like, oh, I want to be an idol, but like my vision of an idol is like kind of embarrassing, and like because when she gets into the mech, like the mech turns into like this big bunny thing, um,
Okay.
and it's like she gets like embarrassed or whatever, and then the main character kind of has to like you know uh sort of back her up and reinforce like you know you became an idol because you love it kind of thing. And it's just not quite as, it doesn't hit quite as hard.
So
um
what I'm wondering is that are they just trying to is each mini arc based upon just like not even the mecha necessarily, but it's like the first arc could be about like the mecha and like henshin and like transformation and magical girl stuff and like kind of referring to what people like or memes about that or tropes about that or whatever it is, right? And then the second mini arc is about idol Japanese Japanese idols and kind of poking fun at that and kind of doing the usual
Yeah.
like, oh, it's not the real. And then maybe like the next arc is going to be about otakus and like how they're hated in society. Do you think it's going to
Yeah.
be like that?
Probably, yeah. I think it's going to run through the main uh three that are on
Okay.
the cover here. Um and like the mecha stuff is kind of just going to be like a backdrop at the end of it, which is kind of unfortunate because like the first three, like I said, the first three episodes are really good. But
Why
then
do you?
they
I
do
mean, do you think the reason why you don't like the next 3 episodes is because it's essentially just taking the first mini arc, the first 3 episodes idea, and just being like, yeah, but this time we have idols. Is that maybe why you're not liking it, or what?
probably. I mean, it does feel a bit more like a formulaic kind of thing.
Mhm.
Um, like it's kind of just following into a pattern.
Right.
It could also be the fact that I really just don't give a shit about idols at all.
Yeah,
Like
that's true.
I really don't care. Like
Right.
there's a scene in like episode 4 or something where like uh after she's like embarrassed or whatever, she like leaves the resistance people and then like she like goes to work in a convenience store or some shit. And like the main character tries to, convince her and like get her back, but in the middle of it, like one of the villains walks in, right? Um who works for like this like you know I forget what they call it, like the true army or something, right?
Mhm.
And they find like the villain finds like this quote unquote illegal magazine, which is basically just an idol magazine, right?
Mhm.
And then the villain starts going off about like basically how fucking stupid idol culture is, right? Like how dumb it is that people like worship like these young girls that are basically just propped up, right? And
Mhm.
the other characters are like, no, you're wrong. But I'm sitting here like, she's right. Like idol culture fucking sucks. Like it's not good. Um, but that could be my
I
bias.
mean, that's the. I mean, the whole point is to make you feel that way, though, right? It's not like the characters are like. It's not like the writer is like these characters are right. It's meant to make you feel like no, I don't know, this idol culture sucks. That's the whole point of the mini arc, right?
Um,
Isn't that the point?
no, it's not.
No?
It's supposed to be. So the point of the idol mini arc is that um, like being an idol is like an inspiring thing. Basically, like it paints like idols as like uh, essentially, you know,
But from your description, it feels like it's being like, oh, it's the whole point was the girl thought that the idol industry was something cool, but then she was disillusioned and like this is the real thing. I
no,
like this is what's actually happening. No,
no,
they're just
it's
straight up
no.
glorifying it.
They're glorifying it because she became an idol because like she saw, you know, a performance or whatever, and she's like,
Yes.
this is the fucking best thing ever, right? And
Right.
then she becomes an idol,
Oh,
and
so it's like
she has
yeah, and then
so
she disillusioned, but then at the end,
she
yeah,
sort
okay,
of gets disillusioned,
yeah,
right? And
right,
then she sort of has this two like split personality kind of thing going on where she has her stage personality and then like her backstage personality, which is more cold and like you know uh curt or whatever.
yeah.
um
There's actually a Japanese
and
word for it recently that was made famous by this one idol that like literally just wouldn't shake hands or do anything because she was so shy or whatever. It was
yeah.
called a shiotayo or salt treatment essentially. But anyways,
Uh-huh.
keep going.
But yeah, and like it sets that up, right? And it's like um you'd think it'd be like, oh well, she doesn't like being an idol that much, right? Like it's just kind of a thing that she's putting on, like a face she's putting on. But then later on, it's like no, like she genuinely loves being an idol, regardless of how she acts, like behind stage or how scummy she is, on social media or whatever. Like her fans, like just they don't care, and like they love her for her idol, like persona or whatever, and then like the message at the end of it is like, you know, uh, it only matters who you are on stage or whatever. And I'm like, obviously it's a bit more tongue in cheek. It's not like pure glorification because
Mhm.
like it's acknowledging that like, you know, some people in the industry are fucking awful, right? Um, but it's like, yeah, like being an idol fucking rocks kind of thing at the end of it all. And it's like, well, not really, no. But
I mean, I think the biggest thing is also that, well, not biggest thing, but I think what I'm getting out of this is it's a very standard way of portraying a standard like idol series where it's the whole like, oh, I did this and then like bad things happened to me, but in the end I just, I became an idol because I want to sing and dance and make people happy, so I'm just going to go ahead
yeah,
and just do it. So that's a very standard way of doing running the idol series. You can
yeah.
kind of see it pretty
Which
much
I mean,
everywhere.
I'm fine with. Like
Right.
it's it's a comedy series. I'm not expecting like deep fucking commentary
Yeah.
on the idol industry. But it was, it's just an arc that did not hit anywhere as
Right,
hard
right.
as the
It's
rest
not
of
it's not an inversion at all, essentially,
Yeah.
what you're saying. Yeah.
Um
So it kind of seems like this a lot of this kind of just seems like, how do I say this? It's weird because it feels like it's pretending, a part of it is sort of pretending to the viewers, hey, we're going deeper, you guys might want to watch this series, when it's actually not going that much deeper. Even in like the mecha series, right, it's not going that much deeper. It's pretty standard in terms of like what it's saying, right, the message that it's sending.
yeah.
But then it's like it's using that fake sort of complexity. It's using that sort of fake depth as a launching pad to kind of do this very cheesy mecha henshin,
Well, I mean,
transformation stuff, right?
it's not really trying to be deep is the
No,
thing.
yeah, yeah. What I'm saying, it's
It's
this fake depth is the launching pad for making a cheesy series based upon like
ye-
mecha transformation stuff.
yeah, I mean it very much wears its heart on its sleeve, right? Like it's
I'm not
not
I'm not
really.
saying the cheesy thing is bad, but it is cheesy in a sense,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and it's trying to be, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's very much a series that, like, I mean, the mechs themselves are what's the term? They're like SD, the SD
Mhm.
mechs, where like they've got the big heads, they've got the short arms, stuff like that. Um, they're very, very like cartoony.
Right.
So it's not like it's again, it's a comedy, right? And like uh like all the mechs, like the main mech, like the one mech that like the rebellion has this like experimental like passion engine or whatever. Um, and it's basically like they literally acknowledge that it's basically just like an ass pull engine, right? Like you just max out the gauge and you win, right? Um, but then like all the other like the true armies mechs, um, they're all like I guess wolf themed or dog themed or whatever.
Mhm.
Um, and like they're like you know they've got like dual swords and one sword's blue and one sword's red. The one girl that pilots it is she's like a ninja girl and she's like you know she's like fighter like fight for your honor and stuff like that. Um,
Right.
but then she's got like a crush on like the captain or the admiral or whatever of the true army, and so there's
Mhm.
some bits there. Um, but it's not very serious. Uh, and it very much feels like a show that's like something you'd see like 10 years ago. You know what I mean? Um, like just the way uh a lot of the jokes are paced and just the way the series kind of feels. Um, it feels very like 2010s kind of thing.
It
Which is
seems,
cool. It's a cool feeling.
yeah. I
Um,
think it's what's interesting is, though you mentioned 2010s and you kind of like you're like getting value from it, but what it kind of seems to me like the way you're speaking is that like it's cheesy again in a good way, but it doesn't have enough sort of like oomph. It doesn't have enough like sort of almost uh frenetic like a more impactful, fast-paced value that will be more apparent in like a 2020 series. You know what I mean? Where it's like boom, 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 things are going on. If things are being cheesy, like everybody shouting, things are blah, 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 blah. And this one is a little bit like this one is still cheesy. It's still running the arcs, but it's still doing, the henshin transformation, blah, 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 mecha stuff happening. Watanabe Akio doing the designs and everything's
Yeah.
doing whatever. But it's definitely a slower, more like kind of hanging loose pace is what it seems like to me. Is what I'm getting from you.
No, it's still very like bang bang bang. Like
Okay.
everyone's shouting. Like there's never really like uh there's been like one or two like slow character moments so far,
Mhm.
and there's like 9 episodes out. So like it's very much like there's constant shouting. Um, the one like the rebellion's like commander, whose name is Balzac Yamada, is voiced by Tomokazu Sugita, and
Mhm.
he is literally constantly fucking shouting, right? And there's
He always
constant
gets those
bits.
souls, yeah.
Yeah, there's constant bits of just how like fucking dumb he is. Like one of the bits is in the idol arc, like the grand plan to like finally like basically ultra motivate the idol girl is essentially to like hold a concert for her, right?
Right.
And so they set up this like they break into this restricted zone, which is a concert hall, right? Um, and they set all this stuff up, and they get her to you know come to this like area, and like one of the bits is like, yeah, like he leaked the fact that they were holding a concert to all of Japan, right? And like they were like, why would you do that? And he's like, so everybody can come. And then like immediately after he says that, it's like enemies incoming, right? Like
Oh, yeah.
the enemies are going to attack, and he's like, how did they find out? Um, but yeah, it's a pretty good show, I think. Um, minus my gripes about the idol arc, which is I feel like it's probably just my bias against idol culture. Um, I can't really.
Maybe the next arc will prove it. Maybe the
Yeah,
next arc will
maybe
kind of
I can't really like I don't know. I just can't really be like, yeah, like celebration of Japanese culture, and it's like, yeah, but idol culture though,
what I'm saying is that, well, I'm not defending it in any sense, but I think it's a very kind of standard like
yeah,
idol
for sure.
mini arc out. Yeah,
It's just like I'm just out here being like, I don't want to, I don't
I
want
don't
to
want to
deal with
watch this.
idols.
Yeah,
um,
not tonight.
but yeah, in terms of audio visuals, I mean, it's Lerche. It's pretty good. Obviously, all the mechs are CG. But again, the mechs are like the SD, like super deformed style mechs,
Mhm.
which I haven't seen in a very long time. I feel like it's been quite a while since I've seen like SD mech designs. Um, there might have been like some weird Gundam thing that came out recently, but like I haven't seen SD mechs in forever. Um,
Mhm.
so the CG looks okay, uh, considering they're not like hyper detailed mechs that are trying to like zoom across the screen. They're kind of just like these chibi looking things that are sort of smashing into each other, and you know there's just particle effects going on all over the place when they're doing their special moves, stuff like that.
Mhm.
So it's serviceable. As for the animation, I mean, it does the job, right? There's not exactly a lot of action scenes outside of the mechs, so
Mhm.
you know um again, the character designs are done by Akio Watanabe, who's good. I like him. I like his
Monogatari
design.
series, right?
Yeah, very iconic.
Right.
And he does a good job here. The girls are cute. And overall, I think that this is very much it's sort of a hidden gem, I think, of the season. I don't think it's
Okay.
I don't think it's like gonna like floor anyone. I don't think it's like a 10 out of 10 or anything. But I think if
But
you
it's a
like,
pleasant surprise. It's a pleasant
yeah, like
surprise.
if you like mecha stuff, I think you'll like this show a lot.
Right.
Assuming the kind of mecha stuff that you like isn't only super serious, fucking Alnoy Zero type shit. You know what
Man,
I mean?
who likes super serious mecha anymore?
I mean, that seems to be the only type of mecha shit that gets made these days. So
But what about the gun? No, I get Gundam, depending
yeah,
if it's UC or not. But
but
yeah, is it better than Vivid Red Near? Because it sounds like Vivid Red.
I mean,
Well,
it's
Vivid Red goes in
it's
a completely different
yeah,
direction. It's like apples and oranges.
it's a very different tone.
Yeah.
This
Vivid
one,
Red is bombastic. It's different. I think from this is a little bit more just
Lemon
again.
in the
I would
face.
use the word cheesy, not in a bad way,
yeah,
but Vivid Red has that cheese too, but it's clearly aimed for the strike witches plus bombastic. Like we're
yeah.
gonna shove these kids' butts up your on your screen, and they're
And
gonna
show the
transform
cool.
it.
They're gonna show the
Right?
cool transformations. It's gonna
Yeah.
be, like crazy action stuff. This one
Yeah.
isn't so
Yeah.
much that. It's more of like it's mainly a comedy series, with some very heavy like celebration of like mecha stuff, and like just Japanese like culture in general. Because the
What
whole
about
idea is that like the villain is like literally outlawed, like Japanese like otaku culture, right? And they're fighting back against that. And obviously, pretty much all of the rebellion are otakus themselves, right? So
Mhm.
like that's where the comedy comes from, where
Right.
it's like an entire group of otakus using this mech, which girls have to like power through passion. It's very very tongue in cheek kind of thing,
Right.
and it's quite good, I think.
Also, Session in chat asked, was Dynaznon SSS Dynaznon, was that super serious? The spinoff for
I
Gridman,
mean,
right? But
it was about as serious as Gridman was,
yeah,
right?
that's what I was thinking.
If I feel like it was a bit less serious than Gridman, because it was
Because it
very like
was the spinoff, right?
it was much like it feels a bit slower paced than Gridman in general.
Mhm.
But yeah, uh,
Okay.
yeah, I think this shows it's definitely something that I think flew under a lot of people's radar,
Mhm.
which is kind of understandable because the style, I guess, isn't really something that grips people. At least a lot of the general audiences these days, I think.
Mhm.
Um, but I think it's pretty good. I think if you like um, mecha stuff, I was trying to think like just what other like kind of series this sort of relates to, but it's just a good comedy like mecha series. Um, you know, and it's got Tomokazu Sugita, so it's good.
That's how you know it's good, bro.
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you very much then for helping to cover Rumble Garanndoll, or again in Japanese, I believe it's known as Gyakuten Sekai no Denchi Shoujo. So please do check that out. It is Lurche, solid studio, solid cast. The idea seems pretty good. Again, you're covered and he likes it, so please do check it out.
But is it the
And
strongest Lurche series?
No.
there's a
I would
lot of big
I
Lurches
don't
here.
think
There's
I'd
a lot of there's a lot of contention. Let's just say
yeah.
that. But yeah, anyways, thank you very much, Nier, for helping to cover this. I honestly didn't expect it myself that this series might end up being, this decent. But yeah,
That's
thank you very
that's
much.
what is that, Spire? That's 3 out of 4 good series. Don't
Yeah.
disappoint us.
All right. There's a lot of pressure. Anyways, moving on to my series, I have Taishou Otome fairy tale. So this is a Synergy SP series. They mainly they've mainly been probably subcontract / like helped animate, do a lot of the small stuff, smaller in betweens, secondary subcontractor, do a lot of kid shows, Beyblade,
Junisai.
Beat 'em in, stuff like that. They apparently helped with the Hayate no Gotoku like the first season way back when. That's pretty funny. But yeah, anyways, they did this series. The audio visuals, it looks okay. It's relatively plain, and it's like pale, like kind of what is it when they call it, like the colors are kind of drained, like is it pale palette? It's like faded. Is that what they call it?
Desaturated.
Desaturated, yeah. It's a little bit desaturated, like just to kind of give the feeling of like the old like Taishou era, the sort of historical series.
Mhm.
So this is again, as the title suggests, a Taishou era themed romance series. Taishou being 1912 to 1926. So that's again the general sort of rise of, obviously it is a little bit before and after for the initial World War, and it kind of precedes Japan's initial sort of militaristic rise towards World War II. But it's essentially the 20th century feudal era. So the way I kind of think about it is like there is the sort of Sengoku era kind of thing where that's like a very medieval kind of romance. You know how in the West, a lot of people have the medieval feudal romance, the knights battling, the swords clashing. If it's mythology, there's dragons,
Yeah.
chivalry, all that stuff, right? So that if that's the romance, then there's Sengoku era, warlord samurai stuff era for Japan as well, similar to like the Three Kingdoms stuff for China and so on. Taishou is somewhat like, how do I say it? It's the equivalent of like Elizabethan Victorian romance, or not romance, but like those series like Sherlock Holmes, Wuthering Heights, stuff like that, right? Where it's like Emily Bronte, those sorts of things where you have carriages by night, or you have people drinking tea, so like sitting in like wooden, whatever, etiquette, doing all these like fancy dresses, whatever. And sort of almost the equivalent of that sort of romance is the Taisho era for Japan. So it's that sort of like, oh, we're all prim and wearing these fancy dresses and kimonos and blah, 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 blah. And it's a very sort of, it's an older shift, but it's still like romantic. It's romanticized in a sense. Oh, there's obviously a bunch of bullshit in that era as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is the Taisho era. It's a pretty standard romance kind of thing. What happens is the main character is the son of a very rich heir that has his right arm paralyzed in a car accident, where his mother also dies. So he's kind of chased away because he's made useless, and he's hated because it's kind of seen as like, oh, why didn't you die instead of your instead of mom or whatever? So because he's part of the big family, so everybody kind of detests him because they like the mother obviously a lot as well. So he's chased out to the countryside, and he's like, oh, my right arm is paralyzed, I can't do anything, everybody hates me, I'm useless. And he's thinking, being depressed and suicidal. And so then his father, who is very sort of worldly, he's kind of ruthless, he only sees like gains and losses and stuff like that. He sends a bride to him, a young bride to be, who was sent to him because her parents had to pay off the debt, so she was sent as a bride to him, because he's the rich boy, right? So it turns out that the girl is extremely nice, and she's very positive, optimistic. outgoing, energetic, blah blah, and she takes care of him, and she kind of the sort of parts of the story. The general theme of the story is that although he's kind of feeling down and he doesn't know where to go in life and he doesn't know how to kind of approach people and approach these relationships, the girl, kind of being the positive, enthusiastic puppy kind of personality that she is, shows him the way and inspires him to do better and inspires him to kind of get out of his shell, open his heart, become a better man, so on. And that's sort of the sort of romance, and they fall in love with each other, and that kind of goes on. A lot of it's very mini arc focused or episodic, where there's a couple of arcs of somebody coming in, an external cast member coming in and say, the main character's sister, for example, the younger character's sister, and that younger sister will mix in and she'll have her own issues. She'll mingle with the MC as well as the girl, and they'll all kind of interact and say, why are you having these problems? And then the MC will become depressed and get reminded of his family. Oh, the younger sister's here now. I'm sad too. Blah 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 blah. And then the bride to be, who is, I should probably say their names by now, Yuzuki Tachibana, and the MC is called Tamahiko Shima Tamahiko. So Yuzuki, the bride to be, kind of all cheers them up and kind of shows them, leads by example by saying, you should do this, you should stay healthy, goes out and does their stuff, tries to interact with them even though they're being all cold. And so again, inspires them to be better. And obviously again, Tamahiko, the main character, becomes better and better and better through these interactions. And the other character is kind of, it's like, what is it, Pokemon Coliseum, where you catch the Pokemon and then the shadow Pokemon and then become pure, right? You go through the process of purification, right? It's like that, where the people come in and a lot of them are initial kind of angry and upset, but then they kind of reconcile and become better people over time and so on. So that's the general idea, the shtick of the story. And again, the romance develops between the main character, who is kind of like sad at times, but he becomes better and better, and he kind of goes through all these trials and tribulations. And Yuzuki, the bride to be, kind of sticks with him through thick and thin, and props him up, and eventually, they get together and closer. So obviously, the story hasn't ended yet. I've read through a general synopsis on how the manga goes. But the idea is, again, it's pretty obvious. It's a very standard like romance. They become closer and closer together, and they experience stuff that are within the realm of sort of how the Taishou era is themed. Stuff like the 1923 Great Kanto earthquake, the Kanto Dai Jishin, so the earthquake that essentially completely fucked up the eastern part of Japan, the main sort of capital area of Japan. So they go through that. They go through a couple of adventures through that. I don't think that's not in the anime series yet. And then there are some other stuff, trials and again tribulations that they go through. So my thought on the series is that it's a pretty standard series. I mean, the romance itself is pretty standard, where the guy's just like, I'm just a loser, man. Why am I here? Blah blah. And then the girl inspires him to do better, and so he becomes better, and he kind of meets other people, and they all kind of hang out together. And later on, he becomes a man worthy of the bride, right? So it's a very standard romance in that aspect. You've seen that stuff in manga 100 million times, right? Where it's like the dude's a loser, but then the girl is like a genius and kind of, or genius, or like super optimistic or super good at everything, and kind of hangs with him and inspires him, right? That happens in a lot of these light novels as well as like manga stuff. So that's pretty standard. I kind of still do like it because it kind of tickles my senses in terms of, I mean, I'm okay with like the cheesy romance, but it's also the whole really kind of dealing with more uncommon interactions and people being at the brink brink, right? Not of suicide or of like so kind of down in the dumps, like everything's going up against them, and how they kind of get back from that. It's not necessarily that Taishou Otome Fairy Tale shows that in a very complex sense, but I still do like that premise of somebody really at the brink and kind of somebody reaching out their hand all the same, and even if they get rejected initially and the depressed person is super cold, kind of reaching out to them and helping them, right? Helping them out of that hole. And I think even if that's not necessarily done in a super complex or super nuanced manner, I do like how that interaction is done because it's always kind of cathartic. So there's some plus points for that. Other than that, again, it's a pretty standard series. I do like the fact that it's in the Taishou era because, again, it's like very Elizabethan and Victorian romance kind of stuff going on here, romance vibes. So that's that. On that, I don't have too much to say about the series. It's pretty decently heartwarming series. It's like, you know, a modicum, a medium amount of catharsis in here. Don't expect anything super mind-blowing or you know, like eye-popping or anything like that, but you know, it's a good, sweet, diabetic punch to the heart. So that's pretty much all I have to say about Taishou Otome Fairy Tale. Okay, the audio visuals are okay. The story is pretty standard. It's Taishou themed. Honestly, after watching this, because before, you know how there were, you know how near my nose or the other people might notice, you know how there's that thing of there's Taishou era like maid cafes, or not even maid cafes, like butler cafes, right? You know what I'm talking about, right? Where it's like they have the guys, but it's not like a butler's, but they have them wearing like the male kimonos and like the wooden clogs and everything, and it's like all like wooden and stuff. Before I didn't get the appeal of that, but now I kind of understand. Like after I watched this, it's essential again. It's very like Victorian, Elizabethan, that sort of romance kind of thing.
It's a good aesthetic, right? It's very much.
It's like one of those classic, like, oh, we're high class, like wearing the dresses, but it's very like people get into that. People get into that.
Yeah,
so.
it feels like it's kind of like the Japanese version of like for America, like, you know, reminiscing on like the 50s. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Great Gatsby kind of shit.
Yeah, like back in these days, everybody wore suits. You know, everybody was
Yeah.
classy. It's like
or colonial era, something like
Spire
colonial
literally
era.
out here
Yeah.
saying he now gets the appeal of well-dressed men. Just gonna throw that out there.
I mean,
I would like my men.
It is a good aesthetic, dude. Like
I would like to dress my men up in kimonos.
yeah. If I'm gonna go to a male themed cafe, they better be fucking dressed nice.
Yeah, exactly. I pay $30 for this goddamn omelet in like a freaking wooden house. That's a fire hazard. I better get my boys in kimonos. But yeah, it's a pretty standard series. Nothing much to say about it, but it is like sweet, nice, like kind of blood to the heart. That's all I have to say. So if you do like that sort of standard cheesy series, please do check it out. And if you want to kind of get a taste of why people would, you know, like Taishou era stuff, then please do check that out. And that's pretty much what we had for our last fall 2021 reviews. Hope you like that set. I think we covered pretty much everything except the one elephant in the room, but you know, we already explained why we couldn't cover that. But other than that, we pretty much
we can't cover Stone Ocean because it's not complete yet.
That's true.
Yeah.
Anyways, we are going to move on right to the news. So this is a pretty interesting set of news, mostly company stuff and some list numbers. I'm going to go over the company stuff real quick, so bear with me. First, Evangelion Store Online announced on Tuesday that its website had a credit card data breach and 17,828 customers' credit card information was illegally accessed. So yeah, compromised personal information includes cardholder name, credit card number, expiration date, security code, login ID /email address, and password. So yeah,
Wow, that's
just
crazy. They should do international shipping though.
yeah.
Just saying.
They don't have the technology. They're already getting. They're too busy getting data breached, bro.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Anyways, next. The Bloomberg News website reported on Wednesday that North American comic book and manga publisher Dark Horse Comics. Dark Horse Comics is a very, very old like comic book publisher slash brand. Is quote unquote working with an advisor to weigh options that could include a sale. Bloomberg said its reporting was according to people familiar with the matter and added it could not reach a Dark Horse representative for comment. So this is pretty interesting. So obviously, just as the Japanese publishers, Kodansha, Shikaku, Shueisha, and so on, are all digitizing and kind of their magazine numbers are suffering, both due to COVID and also because the era of digitalization is here and people are buying manga stuff much less because they actually want to read it, much more just because of novelty. And if you're buying it as a novelty item, people are much less likely to just buy it, right? So Dark Horse, I think, is probably going through similar stuff, and so there's a lot of U.S. manga, comic book stuff. So we'll see how this goes, but you know,
You know
it might.
who's gonna buy them out?
I don't know. Probably some
Is
other,
probably Viz.
maybe.
I mean, is it like Dark Horse in general, or specifically like their like manga branch? Because Dark Horse still makes comic books, like
Yes,
Western comic.
I believe it might. So when they say sale, they didn't make it clear. So it might be a sale of one or more of the departments,
Yeah,
or it could be an even just becoming a subsidiary company of whatever,
yeah,
like
that's
selling controlling stocks to X company. So that
that's what
might,
I'm saying. Because if it's
yeah,
like if they're just like selling like the company off, basically,
yeah. Those
I
two
don't
are
think
very
it's
different things.
necessarily going to go to like any sort of anime focused
Mm,
publisher.
mm,
Viz is possible though, just because
right,
Dark Horse has like you know the resources that they can use, but
right,
I
right.
feel like they might just get bought up by like a general like
By 10 cent.
comics
Mm.
or like just general like book production thing.
Right, right. Okay. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. But it is pretty big because again, Dark Horse Comics is one of the biggest like comic books slash manga related brands in at least the States. Even, I mean in the West in general, I think. So next. The Tokyo District Court handed a guilty verdict and sentence to anime studio Ufutable's founder, representative director, and president Kondo Hikaru on the charge of violating the Corporation Tax Act and Consumption Tax Act by failing to pay 138 million yen in taxes. Kondo is sentenced to 20 months in prison, but the sentence is suspended for 3 years. Kondo remains in good behavior for 3 years. He will not serve time in prison. So obviously,
Yeah, so he will not serve time in prison.
yeah, so fuck this guy. Again, by the way, he evaded taxes, and this was part
Yeah,
of
did he not get
shifting money from
charged on?
earthquake.
Yeah, he stole money from a fucking earthquake charity.
No,
Did he?
this is all part of it, I believe, right?
Oh, okay.
Because
Did
the
that
idea
money
is
for
he
Demon
shifted
Slayer
the
season
money from the
2.
charity to somewhere else, right? So
Yeah,
yeah,
Okay.
this
he like
this
funneled
guy's
the
a
money.
fucker. Yeah.
Yeah.
So fuck this guy. Next. So, to nobody's surprise, entertainment news source The Hollywood Reporter revealed on Thursday that Netflix has canceled the live-action adaptation of Sunrise's
Well,
Cowboy Bebop anime after one
No.
season. The
What?
series garnered.
apparently to a lot of people's surprise, because there were fucking freaks out there that seemed to enjoy this series.
There were so many people that were like, it's not supposed. It's like they can't. No one can make up their mind. Like
You
some
should
people are like,
wait
it's
and
not
see what
supposed
people
to be
are
like
really
the
saying.
anime. And other people are like,
Yes, it is.
yeah. And then it's just like, but then why'd they try to make it so much like it? Like
Yeah,
they didn't.
like
Like they purposefully went like in this weird half-assed route. I made a comment which I think is even more accurate than people calling it a nostalgia critic bit. I was like the longest running SNL bit. Like it's literally like the whole show's fucking production. It's like what if SNL had a Cowboy Bebop bit? And there you go.
Okay.
I watched
Hey.
one episode of it randomly on Thanksgiving when I was hiding away from a certain girl. And I was
How'd
like,
that
what the
go?
heck did they I was like, what the heck did they do with Vicious? Why is he talking to this random ass
Dude,
smelting lady? It was
he says
weird.
moshi moshi, bro.
Why is Vicious look like some
Like a
like some
homeless person?
like yeah, like a homeless old man, like what's that? Who's the actor that plays Vicious?
I don't know.
Looks like a Disney Channel villain.
I thought he was supposed to be some sort of a handsome dude, but no, it's I don't know who this is. And then what did they do with Julia? Oh, that was weird. I didn't get it.
Anyways, so to the series garnered almost 74 million viewing hours so far, but its ratings dropped by 59% about 2 weeks after its premiere. It also
Nice.
received a 46% average rating among critics and 54% among audience members on the Rotten Tomatoes website. So, anyways,
Spire, it's the holiday season. I didn't get a chance to rate it yet.
yeah, ho ho ho!
Gotta
I'm going to
wait,
watch
you
it at
gotta
50.
wait.
The kicker was I watched Wooly's reaction on Ed's reveal. That was great.
I have to check that out.
Anyways,
It
so
was
next
so bad.
here we have some lists and numbers because everybody likes lists and numbers. So first, light novels. So here I'm going to have top selling light novels in Japan by series 2021. So the series covers sales of let's see this. This list covers sales of physical copies surveyed from November 23rd, 2020 to November 21st, 2021. So first is Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba. Surprise! 776,000 copies. Next is That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. Third, The Apothecary Diaries. Wow, this thing really blew up. Like back when, like a couple of years ago, I forget when this came out. This came out like this come out like 2011. Oh, this came out in 2011, right? I remember like way
Yeah, so
back
it's just a
when
couple of years ago.
when I saw this, like when did I see this initially? Was it like 2016 or 2017 maybe? Maybe it was 2017 maybe or something like that. So not that long ago, but it's like it was pretty niche like when I saw it back then, and now it's apparently the third best-selling series in Japan. uh, so that's that. Fourth, ReZero, Starting Life in Another World. And fifth, The Detective is Already Dead. Again, are all very popular series. The next is top selling manga in Japan by series. Oh, I'm going to be extremely surprised by this, right? Oh, okay. This is actually pretty surprising. Number one, Jujutsu Kaisen. 30.9 million sales. Number two, Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, 29.5 million sales. Number three, Tokyo Revengers. Number four, Attack on Titan. And number five, My Hero Academia.
Where's Rental Girlfriend?
Where's Rental Girlfriend?
Didn't it pass 3 million copies sold?
I have no idea. Let's see.
This list sucks then.
Yeah. And last list here, the school library journal. This like a Western sort of journal, a frequently referenced source of information for elementary, junior high, and high school librarians, releases top 10 manga of 2021 list on Wednesday. The list, which has no numerical order, includes Gakukeito's Boys Run the Riot, blah blah. Oh yeah. So Moki Yuzuhara and Hiruma Hitoma's Adachi to Shimomura. Oh, Adachi to Shimomura. That's not bad. Okay. Matsumoto Naia's Kaiju #8. Suzuka Oda and Nishio Isin's Pretty Boy Detective Club. Oh, this is a good list, honestly. Nitori Sasami's Wonder Cat Q-chan. Owaru Sumito's Keep Your Hands Off Eizouken. Oshimi Shuzo's Shino Can't Say Her Name. Saiki Kumiko's Kakeki Shoujo. Shimada Toranosuke's Robo Sapiens, Tales of Tomorrow, and Takahashi Rumiko's Mao. So honestly, this is a better list than a lot of some other Japanese lists. So pretty good, honestly. Again, these are recommendations to Western librarians, so hopefully they'll follow the advice and include some of these, especially something like Eizouken and so on. So we'll see. And we usually don't do this, but we do have two big pieces of people news these past 2 weeks. First is the Ritsumeikan Center for Game Studios, RCGS, announced on Thursday that Nintendo and Super Nintendo creator Uemura Masayuki has passed away on December 6th. A funeral service was held with family members. He did pass away at the age of 78. So please do wish condolences to his friends and family. And next, our anime writer Sato Dai reported on Friday that screenwriter Nobumoto Keiko, who wrote scripts for Cowboy Bebop, Wolf's Rain, Tokyo Godfathers, Macross Plus, passed away on December 1st after a battle with esophageal cancer at the age of 57. Her family held a private service on December 4th, and director Watanabe Shinichiro confirmed her passing to Sato. So again, please do wish her friends and family condolences. And with that, we are on to our shoutouts and callouts. Each person here gets one shoutout and one callout each. A shoutout can be anything, something that you want to praise, shout to the heavens, hop, leap in the air with glee. It could be any one person, place, or thing that you want to talk about, and call it as the exact opposite, something that you want to rage, rant, sputter in anger about. And again, it can be any one person, place, or thing. And we start now with Dark. What do you have for us?
I'm gonna shout out to Final Fantasy 14 Endwalker. You know, it was a pretty good MSQ. I think it's my favorite one now. So there's that, and the Mel Vieira are pretty good.
Did you get your feast rewards? I heard you get some sweet loot.
For what?
Didn't they revamp feast?
Oh no, I think that's next patch is start of like the PvP that might actually be playable.
What
So that'll be cool.
you getting ready for your top 10 rewards that now anyone can get?
Yeah, I mean that should have been the case from the beginning because all that was, I mean, it wasn't even top 10, it was top 100, but all it was like
It was top 100 like per data center, right?
yeah. And
Which is
so
fucking insane.
and it turned into people running like alt accounts and just win trading and shit. So
19 seasons, right? Sounds great.
yeah, it's like it was awful, honestly. Like also PvP in that game is abysmal to begin with. So there's that. Like that game's engine does not suit PvP whatsoever. But yeah, overall expansion's really good. Excited to see the new stuff. And yeah.
Okay. And call out?
Oh, you know what? On a similar note, I'm gonna call out people who call something like introduced in the beginning, like hinted at in a previous expansion and introduced at the beginning of like a fucking 40-hour expansion as like an ass pull. It's like, okay, man, that's cool. Like a concept just because you beat the game in fucking 3 days doesn't mean that doesn't lessen the fact that you just played a 40-hour fucking RPG and you're like, nah, this concept that was like fully established in this expansion, that's actually an ass pull. Where was it in the other expansions? Well, it was there, just wasn't elaborated on. Like, but anyway, I'm not gonna say much more with that, lest I get into spoilers. So
Okay. What about you? Sorry, thank you very much for your shout out and call out. And what about you, Toast?
Uh, shout out to I don't know. The shout out to Millie Parfait, I guess.
What?
Shout out from Millie Parfait for her. What is it? Let me find it again. For her Tagalog collab with who was it? Who was it? Who are you? Kaheru? Yeah, Kaheru. Yeah, I watched that. I watched that. What's that? What's that? Keep talking and nobody explodes collab in Tagalog. It was horrible. I hated it. You know, Spire, how there's two types of Filipinos, right?
No one can comment on
No.
that other than you.
Yeah, I'm not
No-
sure myself.
No one else can say a word on that except for you.
But I linked that video once.
Not
There's
allowed
there's
to.
there's okay. There's two types of Filipinos. There's the swagapinos, and then the ones apologizing for being swagpino. I got little of both during that stream, and I hated it.
Yeah. Okay.
That's my shout out.
And your call out?
That's my shout out. Damn. What's my call out then?
Wait. So do you have another one?
My call out is that same stream. I hated it.
Okay.
Both my shout out and my call out. Shout out for Millie getting 100K and for doing the Tagalog stream. Call out for that same stream, and also she's gonna summon the sea demons when she does her Tagalog only stream since she hit 100K. I'm gonna hate it.
Okay. All right. Thank you for your shout out and call out.
You know the C branch is an entirely different can of worms that I don't want to bring up.
All right. We should stop with that. But yeah, again, thank you very much for your shout out and call out. Nier, what about you?
Don't mess with the ID, the Thai,
The ID.
the Indonesian branch,
No,
the
I know what you're
Thai
talking about. I
branch,
know
the
what you're talking about.
Filipino branch.
Yes.
They're crazy. You need to have you need to be, what is it? You need to have the bloodline immunity to be able to handle them. Spire, I don't think you can handle it because you're Korean.
Nier, what about you? Shout out and call out.
Um. Shoutouts to FF14. It's pretty good. I think it's a pretty good game. As for callouts, I don't know. Shout out or callouts to the FF14 login queues.
How long did you guys have to wait anyway?
I
Like,
waited 3 hours today from 7 to 10.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. But at least like once you're in, the servers work.
But do they kick you out after an hour of inactivity?
30 minutes.
After 30 minutes of
30
inactivity.
minutes. Jesus, that's
Yeah, you do not have much time.
If you're not playing the game, then you're not in.
Yeah, buddy.
like
Plus, you stay in your FC house, but then they locked all the FC houses today.
Yeah, they've been doing
how
that.
can you
Boarded
get
up your
anything
fucking
done
doors.
in 30 minutes though. It's like
Yeah,
what if
it
you
does
gotta-
get rough. Like, I went to the store today and I had to like run.
what if you gotta take a big dump? That's like, damn, that sucks for you.
Yeah, basically. But yeah,
What if you had a wireless mouse and just kept moving it around when you're in the bathroom?
I mean,
you'd have to be
we saw
clicking.
someone fucking streaming their PC to their phone
Oh, see,
with FF running.
that's smart.
God damn it. All right. Well, thank you, Nier, for shout out and call out. And I guess for me, fucking my call out is to the new car I got like about a month back or whatever, because its tire pressure sensor is very sensitive. So whenever I'm off by even like 1 or 2 pounds or a few pounds, it's like, oh, your tire is about to fucking blow up. And it's like, shut the fuck up. And I just keep ignoring it, keep driving.
Did you gain weight?
Yes, I gained all the weight. That's
Weighing
that's
down
why.
one side of your
Yeah,
car.
yeah. That's what I'm doing.
I mean, I saw that. I see that tire pressure thing too. It's like, oh wait, you have to balance out the weight on your car. Like you got
The problem isn't that it's like the problem. Okay, I literally went to the air station or the air pump at the gas station. I pumped everything out to their optimal whatever the psi according to the manufacturer. I sit back in and it's still the tire pressure sensor is still there. It's part of it's cold weather, part of it's just because it's sensitive. But whatever, fuck it. And
just buy some condensed air and put it in your car.
I'm not sure if that's how pumping air into tires works, but
They sell condensed air at home. Just grab a couple cans, spray it in.
I am aware of the existence of condensed air. That's not my problem exactly. But anyways, yes.
Spire, you just got gaslit. There's no such thing as condensed air. It's compressed air.
Well,
Damn,
You just
dude.
got
yeah,
fucking gabbed on.
Gas,
that's it. Anyways, my shout out is probably again to Amakano because I want more Christmas themed or like snow themed visual novels. Fuck, just give me more of these. I don't like if you guys are just gonna throw stupid vanilla Resident Sleeper, like I don't care, boring shit at my face. At least make it boring winter themed stuff or something. Like just put a better like background theme in this so that I can at least like adore the visuals while I play the game.
All right.
While I'm falling asleep.
Spire, you have Santa's big sack already, right?
What?
What?
What are you talking about, Toast?
You said you wanted more Christmas themed VNs, right? You don't have Santa's big sack?
What is Santa? What the fuck?
What do you think it is, Spire? Just take a wild guess, a shot in the dark.
I don't fucking know what sort of nightmares Toast has in his mind.
There you go.
What the
I
fuck is this? Festive art, thrilling gameplay, branching paths, multiple romance options, heartwarming Christmas music. Stuff your own stocking with a hilarious gift of love this holiday season. All characters depicted are 18 years of age or older.
There's Sakura Santa or Santa Girls if you're interested.
Yeah.
What currency?
I'm not sure if this is the stuff I was asking for, but thank you, Toast, for
Sakura game. What the fuck?
Fucking next to the Sakura game stuff, as well as what is it? Nekopara hit like a new record in like sales or some shit like that. God, fuck
maybe I'll get
all
a
these
Christmas
series.
special.
God damn it. Anyways, so that's pretty much my shout out and call out, and thank you all for joining us again on this. I guess it's Sunday now, but on this Saturday podcast, we are going to have another podcast immediately this week or next week on the 18th of December to cover our preview show for winter 2022. Again, probably one of the best seasons relatively consistently throughout the year, unless like huge things happen in the fall or summer. But usually it's one of the more like diverse seasons. So just look out for that. After that, we're going to be taking a double sort of week break. So nothing on 25th, nothing on the 1st. We are going to be back on the podcast doing our infamous awards show on the 8th. So watch out for that as well. And if you do like what we do, we stream every other Saturday starting at twitch.tv/4PlayerAnimecast. That's with a numeral 4, where we stream a live recording of the podcast every other Saturday starting at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, talking about the latest and greatest in Japanese animation-related media, anime, manga, light novels, web novels, visual novels, and so much more. We have it here. We have our highlighted VODs to peruse at your leisure, as well as on YouTube, so whichever format you desire. We have updates and news on our social media platforms, Facebook, 4PlayerAnimecast, as well as Twitter at 4PPAnimecast, all with the numeral 4 is our handle. So check us out here, check us out there. And as always, we'll see you next time.